it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it.
It's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and
it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Oh yeah, everybody! Welcome to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he, and we are back for another week of talk. Lori, you gotta let me know if you can hear the fan in the background. I will turn it off. Can't hear my fan. Thank God, because it's hot as hell in here.
Well, you're just hot looking, so that's adding to it.
Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. We are streaming live and direct on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter. Oh my goodness, I forgot to start up Instagram. Let me say Instagram, but let me hit the go live on Instagram to make sure that actually happens. Now we are streaming live on Instagram as well as YouTube. I think I got them all: Amazon, Roku, LinkedIn, Facebook Live, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Did I get them all, Lori? All right. So we are live and direct on all of those right now. Thanks everybody for tuning in wherever you are. Please, we are currently in our drive for 10,000. Got a long way to go, but we got to have a goal for our YouTube channel, which is Empower TV Network. So just search for that. Please go there, like and share, but most importantly, please subscribe and ask others to subscribe as well. And click the bell. It'll let you know every time that we go live or post new content to the channel. We may have some other of our panel join us in just a little bit. But for right now, it is just me and Lori Parker. How you doing, Lori?
Doing well.
Well, that's good. Hallelujah. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. All right. And anybody else out there that is watching the show, and I had a great conversation with my barber today. He's actually expanding his barbershop and doing a barber college and wants to, recruit some people for their first class starting the first week of August. And I totally walked out because I was feeling good about my cut and forgot to get all of his information and stuff. But I'm going to have a friend reach out to him about cutting a video promotional for him. And I already talked to him about putting that on the network so that he can get the word out. So anybody out there that has a good or service, if you're a small business owner like him and I were chopping it up today, guys, you got a small business, you got a side hustle, second thing that you do outside of your main job, that one day you want to make it your main job, but right now you got to pay some bills and things like that. Real life, real talk. One of the biggest things that holds you back a lot of times is being able to get the word out, advertising. We live in a world of Facebook and Instagram and think that we can just reach everybody on those platforms. And while it does carry a big stick, there are other platforms out there such as, I don't know, Empower TV, and being able to reach more and more people, not just within the confines and the realm that but even further than that, being able to get your product in front of people that would not normally see it. Hell, even if you want to place an ad on Facebook and have it pop up in people's feeds and stuff, costs a certain amount of money. Normally you got to set a budget, and depending on the budget that you set, they will get it in front of X amount of people. God knows I know. Matter of fact, I'm probably about to do another campaign myself. But those cost money. They're not free. And advertising can get to be quite expensive when you're a small business and you're just trying to get off the ground. Being able to take advantage of platforms like this one can be a difference. We really do believe that. So with all of that said, we would love to be able to partner with you to be able to put together any promotionals that would help people learn more about what it is that you do when either A, you're not doing your 9 to 5, or B, if it is your 9 to 5 because you made that move, still just trying to get started takes a lot. And we're there to help with some of the advertising for you. Okay. No, we're not ABC, we're not NBC, CBS, or anything like that. But being on Roku and Amazon Fire TV does open you up to a platform that holds over 150 million users on each platform, in addition to the following that we have on on YouTube as well. So let us know. You can always send us a email at theparkermedia@gmail.com, theparkermedia@gmail.com, or you can send us a direct message in the comments and Lori will get your information. Speaking of commercials, we're going to start out with one, and it is Lori from none other than the good folks at Jermaine Parker Realty, who's here locally in the Charlotte, North Carolina area to take care of all of your real estate needs. Buy, sell a home, residential mostly, um, and or property management. Maybe you've owned a home, you're getting another home, don't want to sell the one that you have, and you need somebody to manage it for you. Talk about BL Parker Property Management, which is a part of Jermaine Parker Realty. So without further ado, check it out. Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions that you'll make. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help you navigate through that process. We know that a home is more than just a place to live. It creates memories. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help. Give us a call and let us get started on your journey. I also love the fact, Lori, too, that not only do we just, deal with real estate and things like that, but we also have authors that come through, and we're going to really reach out to more and more authors, have them on, be able to talk about their works, things that they're writing, help with their following and things like that. But we've got two great, awesome writers that we've worked with thus far. And one of the first ones is Shanine and Sheldon, who came up with
Shanine and Sheldon Muldrow.
Muldrow, yep. Shanine and Sheldon came up with a children's book called Sawyer, Kid Lawyer. And we would love to show you how that one went. So play this clip. Introducing Sawyer, Kid Lawyer, Teacher versus Nap Time. A great book that will help your little one with reading, writing, and spelling. Coming from the authors, Shanine and Sheldon Muldrow. Please check this book out and support. Thank you so much. Even if you just need somebody to be able to post your product and do a quick read over it, definitely available to do custom reads for you to promote your product. So if you don't have the budget to put together a full production or something like that, we can work with still shots. We can move shots around, things like that, and then overlay either a voice over or do a live read for the product or service that you have. Lastly, before we move into tonight, we've got another book that is on the opposite end of a children's book. It is one that children should never read because it's a little on the adult side. One of our friends, Catherine Y. Waddell. Oh, let me back it up. Man, I'm glad she ain't on here to hear it. One of our friends, Catherine Y. Jones. Yeah, I got it right this time. So used to saying that. It's a maiden name. So technically that is her name, but it's just not the most updated one, Lori. You don't really lose it, I don't think, because that's what you were born as, but it does evolve a little bit. So Catherine Y. Jones has put out her first book, one of many I assume to come, and it is called Moments the Weekend. And here's a promo for that. Well, all right then. So, if you guys have anybody that you know of, or you yourself could find some usefulness in being able to put your stuff in front of an expanded audience, please again reach out to us via email at theparkermedia@gmail.com. Or while the show is going on, you can always send us a direct message and we will reach out to you via direct message. All right, Lori, what's going on with you this week?
Oh, it's been a weekend. A lot of things that have been going on in the news. It's just been a really wild week.
Yeah,
Just trying to encompass everything that's going on.
well, first and foremost, you should say a little prayer to make sure that the power doesn't go off this time. Um, I might really have to get a damn generator. I didn't think I would have to, but um, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what's been happening in our neighborhood lately, but man, we've been losing power. I told Lori I think that some damn squirrels keep biting the power cables and committing suicide, and it wipes out the neighborhood. Because the funny thing is that it only goes for a few blocks and then all the lights around us are on, but it's the same thing. And it's probably since we had the show live and we lost power, we've probably lost power another 4 or 5 times since. Um,
absolutely,
it's just
absolutely.
kind of crazy because we both primarily work from home. So, not having power and not having internet is not a good thing when you got to get some stuff done. So it's been a little frustrating lately, but so hopefully this show can go without a hitch. There ain't a cloud in the damn sky. So it ain't gonna be because of any inclement weather. So
Well,
so so Rocky and Bullwinkle, if you're listening, stay hell away from them power lines.
the last time, the most recent power outage, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was sunny. It wasn't even windy, and the sucker was off twice. So
Oh,
it couldn't even go this way. So I'm gonna sit here and just say this, that I have a problem, and maybe that's for what burns me or what I don't like, because I have an issue, especially going back to when they gave the estimate for our property. So I have a problem with Cabarrus County and the state of North Carolina, because if you're telling me I need to have power on a consistent basis,
mm, okay.
and if you're telling me that my house is worth X amount of this dollar amount, and I can't have power because it's not the squirrels, because no squirrel is there. I think it's a raccoon. I think it's a little bear. I don't know what it is, but it's just this line. It's just
Oh,
this line.
there ain't no bears here.
I don't know, but there's some critter or something in here, and it's not squirrels. It's not squirrels because they're still running around. It's something else.
Well,
Or
that's
somebody keeps knocking into the
well, I
pole.
mean, do you know squirrels do multiply quite frequently? So I mean, just because you see squirrels running around don't mean one of these. How many of y'all out there got a dumbass cousin that would do something that the rest wouldn't represent the rest of the family? Squirrels got the same kind of cousins that do dumb shit that don't represent all the squirrels out there. So trust me, it can happen. They can get trapped in a power box, going around trying to eat something around it, not realize how closely they've gotten to it, and will fry themselves like some good old Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yes, they will. A lot of times they're not purposely trying to fry themselves. They're just they get too close doing something crazy and end up biting down and you know curtains. So it can happen. I've seen it happen quite a few times. Just working in the hotel business where you lose power and then they go up there and then they let you know, yeah, we got up there and found a crispy, a crispy squirrel. Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Gave his life. Gave his life. Maybe he thought he was gonna turn into the Flash. He got hit with enough lightning. Um, be the fastest squirrel out there. So he was the fastest one to die. That's what I know. But anyway, we'll move on from there. Talking about just playing with fire, so to speak, uh, would be Donald Trump. I'm trying my best to transition to that, but Trump, um, man, he's got a lot of court cases going on. Some of them are lingering. Let's just say it like this before we get into any specific case. It's obvious that Donald Trump has one play, and it's called delay. He's betting on, and it still doesn't make total sense, but he's totally betting on the fact that he can run out the clock. Now, one of my favorite basketball teams, Lori, is the University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels. And back in the old days, if you're old enough to remember, Dean Smith, Ty Ballantyne, what's going on, my man? Tyrekus. Uh, One of the things that Dean Smith was always known for, Lori, was when the Tar Heels were up at the end of a game, they went into this offense called the four corners. And basically, all it really was is that if we're up, we're going to force the defense to get more aggressive by coming after us. But what we're going to do is we're going to put our four best players in four different corners of the court, and they're just going to pass the ball around till the clock runs out and hit zero, and we win the game. That's how they were secure. They're not going to do anything foolish and dribble the ball too much. They're not going to try to get into the center of the court, put up some crazy shot. What they're basically doing is they're going to just basically try to let the clock, because at a certain point, whether it's a football game, Lori, or a basketball game, the clock can become your worst enemy, even more so than your opponent, because at a certain point in time, if you're down 15 points with 2 minutes to go, it's not the offense anymore. It's the fact that you got to get 15 points to catch up. But as you're trying to figure out how to do that, the time in the game is dwindling down and down and down and down and down. So what we really are seeing now with Trump, and I'm not calling him a Dean Smith because Dean Smith was regarded as one of the best ever. But he's using the same play of I'm just going to sit there and hold the ball till all the time runs out. And when the time runs out, it doesn't matter. Game is over. And that's his only play. It's his only approach. It doesn't really work for him that well, though, with two of the cases, potentially three now, where they're state cases. Two of the other cases are federal cases, the one in Washington, D.C. with the election interference, and the one in Florida with the documents case. His whole goal is to delay, try to find any reason to delay. We'll talk about one of the delay tactics that finally got heard today um, is the fact that with the federal cases, if he were to be reelected and become president, he could simply have his appointed attorney general withdraw the cases. Basically, fire Jack Smith, tell him to go have a nice day, fire him, withdraw the cases from the federal courts, and the Washington, D.C. and the Florida case would disappear just like that. So he's really banking on winning to do that. Now, there's two other cases, and one potential one out there, Lori, that's the Fulton County case in Fulton County, Georgia, with Fonnie Willis, and then there is another state case currently going on now in the state of New York with what has been coined as the hush money case, but it is really more than about hush money, and we'll talk about what it really is about in a second. But it's an election interference case as well. But it's more salacious when you talk about the hush money part of it because it involves a porn star. You know, the Orange Man and the porn star almost sounds like a twisted novel. But anyway, he can't just make those go away even if he were reelected. As crazy of an idea of him being reelected is, it is still a possibility. And it's one that we have to take seriously. It's not a good possibility, but it's a possibility. Um, but he can't just arbitrarily make those go away because he cannot pardon himself from a state charge. Nor, if he were president, could he pardon somebody from a state charge. His ability to pardon is based on federal charges. So somebody gets a state charge in any of the 50 states, and if he was president, or no matter who the president is, they can't pardon them. Either that happens from the governor of that state, or that particular state may have a certain board that would oversee paroles and pardons. For instance, in the state of Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp does not have pardon power. So if any of the folks that have been indicted in Fulton County, Georgia, Lori, actually get sentenced, even Brian Kemp, a Republican, cannot just wave his hand and pardon anybody. In addition to the fact that all of the crimes from Georgia have a minimum sentence attached to them, meaning that before you can even be pardoned or paroled out, you have to serve a minimum 5 years. So, pardon or not, you're gonna have to sit for 5 before you even get it. Secondly, it comes up before a review board, not the governor. The governor just can't willy-nilly say, nah, he was my president, I'm getting him out. You won't be able to. The only thing Trump can hope for is that if he gets reelected, he can extend um, the time, and hopefully, if he can get the case to not even be heard before he's elected. Once he's in office, they can't touch him till he gets out. But if he's in office for another 4 years, or as some people fear, he may never leave, um, then the case is basically dead. Or even if he does eventually leave, well, the thing about cases is that they get cold, they get stale. Even your witnesses start end up missing. They misremember things. Their memories aren't as reliable as they used to be because you get further and further away from the incident and when it happened. It's a lot harder to keep it together after it's been out there for so long. You leave a nice cake out on the counter too long without it getting covered up, it ain't gonna taste like it did 3 days ago. Gonna be a little rough. Gonna be hard on you. So the longer and longer you go, the harder and harder it gets. So that's just play with those two, Lori. And then I brought up a teaser of a potential third, and that's simply because, and we'll talk about this a little bit more too. But 11 fake electors plus some Trump associates were just indicted last night from the Arizona Attorney General in connection with the last election. It involves some names that we've now grown accustomed to hearing, whether it's Mark Meadows, whether it was John Eastman, whether it was Christina Bobb, uh, uh, Jenna Ellis, I believe, was on that list. Rudy Giuliani was on that list. So there's some other people that uh, are being described but haven't been officially named because they have to be served first before it actually names them. So it either gives a description or it's redacted. Um, we do see Donald Trump in it, but currently he is in there as unindicted conspirator, co-conspirator.
Number one.
Number one. Now, people are asking, well, why is he unindicted co-conspirator and not indicted? It's quite simple. Um, I'm gonna answer it by answering it this way. Today, Donald Trump finally got a case heard that he knows he's going to lose in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. He took a issue to SCOTUS, basically saying that because he is a former president, he has 100% total absolute immunity to be able to do anything he wants without worry of any prosecution. It on its face, just a ridiculous claim, but in all four current cases, he's tried to make this claim that because he's a former president, you can't try me for anything. Almost like being a king. Like I can't face any kind of prosecution. And he keeps going around talking about presidents have to have this kind of immunity because if they don't, they won't be able to make some of the hardest decisions and things like that. Now he is right to an extent. There is a such thing called immunity, and it's normally reserved for civil action, meaning that just because a certain group doesn't agree with the decision that the president makes, they can't just file a civil lawsuit for damages. One reason is that in a civil suit, you don't have to win by. Uh, you don't have to. The burden of proof is different. You don't have to win beyond a reasonable doubt. Meaning, all 12 jurors have to be in agreement that you're guilty. You have to win by what they call the preponderance of evidence. All that basically means is, Lori, if you had a scale in front of you, the one that has the feather on it is the preponderance of evidence. It just has to be that much different. It ain't got to be like this. It ain't got to be like that. It could be like this, just ever so slightly. That's the preponderance of evidence. So in a civil suit, what you have to prove is basically you're saying it is more likely than not that this person is responsible. That is not the same as going through all 12 jurors and they all say guilty. And because that's a criminal case. In a criminal case, the burden of proof is higher on the prosecution to prove that the defendant is indeed guilty. That's why it carries such stricter penalties when you talk about being put in jail, prison, that kind of thing. Civil penalties are normally not jail related. Normally, there are fines and things like that associated with some civil penalty. But you don't want to be able to have to do that with a president because sometimes they have to do things that everyone's not going to agree with, whether it's getting into a war, a certain foreign policy. You can't just have somebody sue you because you sent $26 billion, I don't know, to Israel for them to continue genocide. We'll talk about that. Because if he didn't have immunity for that, Joe Biden could be sued because uh, we're sending weapons to Israel, and Israel is in turn uh, uh, bombing the hell out of everybody, and in some ways withholding food, which, to be clear, is a war crime um, for the Palestinians, and using the fact that they're saying, well, when it comes through, all that's happening is Hamas is taking it, and they're still not getting it. So anyway, you don't want somebody just to start a frivolous lawsuit and say, well, I'm going to sue Joe Biden because he is complicit in Israel's genocide. That's a perfect example of how immunity does work. Okay? Immunity does not work when you are operating out of the lines of your job. Now, what Donald Trump is saying is it doesn't matter whether I'm acting officially as president or campaigner in chief, because it's still me, everything falls under that umbrella, which means that Richard Nixon would have never had to worry about Watergate. Bill Clinton could say Monica who bitches. None of those things would have been an issue because they could just make them magically go away. So there is a difference in immunity. When you step outside the lines of your job as president, even if you're the same person, because of course you're the same person, you can't hold on to, well, but I was still president. So he's trying to hang on to the fact that a lot of these things that he's being accused of, he had the role of president, but he was not acting on behalf of the office of president. Those are the things on the outer edges. And he's still saying that he should have immunity for that, which is totally ridiculous. So when Judge Pan of the DC District Court asked his lawyer, so are you saying that he could order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political opponent and he wouldn't be held liable for that? And basically his lawyer said no, he's good, which is utterly ridiculous because when we look at justice and we say no one is above the law, if you have an immunity policy that would allow him to be able to have SEAL Team 6 execute a political opponent, then that is not true. Not everyone is under the law. There is saying that there is an exception. There is a carve out for somebody to be above the law, basically saying that the justice system would not be able to hold this person accountable, and not even the U.S. Supreme Court would be able to hold this person accountable. Now, listen, I don't believe that Donald Trump is that stupid. I think he looks at it as a delay. When you look at Trump, he is one of the most litigious people out there. He will sue anybody for anything at any time. And basically, the way he wins, when he does win, is he just outlasts you when it comes to the cases. He knows that he can just simply stall you out, wear you down to where you run out of money, and you can't afford to keep fighting legally. And either you settle or you withdraw. And that's his game. It's always been his game. So what he's doing now with the legal system is he's showing everyone just how deficient the legal system can be. For most people that don't have the funds and resources to do what he's doing, they can't fight that long. And normally they end up getting sentenced. They can't appeal to a circuit court, then go en banc. And instead of just seeing a 3-judge panel, they see the full panel of 12 or 9 or whatever it may be, and then appeal it then to another circuit. And then after that circuit, appeal it to the U.S. Supreme Court. That takes a lot of money to fight that. And a lot of people don't have that kind of money to keep fighting. So they just go ahead and withdraw, or they settle, or they take the consequences, whatever it may be. So he's fighting all of that basically to run out the clock. Again, because the U.S. Supreme Court had to hear this case today, what that did for the D.C. case is he put it on hold. He basically froze out Judge Chuckin and the D.C. Case with Jack Smith until there's a official decision on whether or not he has immunity. The reason that they have to freeze it is because, let's just say, for in a twisted world, the Supreme Court comes back and says, okay, he has immunity. Well, you wouldn't want to start a case against somebody that has immunity and have them go through a case that they shouldn't have even had put in front of them. So that's why the brakes get put on. Most appeals are handled at the end of a case, but this is an interlocutory appeal, which means that it is handled during the process of a case. All that basically means is that if it's granted, which it's rare that they are, it actually puts the brakes on the case. That's all he wants. Because even though the court heard his lawyer ridiculously try to justify why he deserves immunity, we know that it's a good chance that with the 9 justices, we're going to be looking at either a 6-3, 7-2 decision on he is not immune. The 2 holdouts that we would expect would be Sam Alito and Clarence Thomas, who in fact should not even be hearing this case. should have recused himself because his wife Jenny actually was at the ellipse on January 6th and was sending messages to Mark Meadows and other politicians trying to get them to overturn the election. So, because of his proximity to his wife, he should be recused. But like one commentator said last night that I thought was hilarious, and also scary was he said Clarence Thomas's biggest superpower is he has no shame. Um, so he's going to sit his ass right there and hear this case, even though he should recuse himself. So, with that said, it's most likely, Lori, to be a 7-2 if Justice Roberts, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett join Kagan, Sotomayor, and Ketanji Brown Jackson and do what needs to be done. The problem is The problem is that if Alito and Thomas dissent, they can take their time writing the dissent. And if they take their time, drag their feet writing the dissent, the court can't just go ahead and arbitrarily say, well, they're writing their dissent, but Judge Chuck, you go ahead and do this because he's not going to win it. Because they have some standing tradition where they won't put out a decision until the dissenters have finished writing the dissent. And all the dissent is saying is, even though we did not win the argument as far as the ruling, we're going to write our opinion on why we think it should have went our way. That's what a dissent is. And they basically give them the time. There's no cap on the time, Lori. They can take literally all the time they want to write a dissent. And that just gives Donald Trump the ability to keep that case frozen until the election. That's a lot.
Yes, it
But
is.
but but that is what's going on with that. As far as but that also leads into the whole Arizona thing of why didn't Trump get charged in Arizona? Well, I think they want to see first. Hey, Don Lord Weaver. They want to see first where this goes because they know if for two reasons. If we put Trump in as part of this indictment with these other folks, he gonna slow it down just because he's listed as part of the indictment, and he's going to use same thing that he did with Fulton County. He's just going to keep throwing dirt in the gears to try to slow it down. We know this, so we're going to keep him unindicted for right now because one, we want the Supreme Court to rule so that once they rule that he has no immunity, that means that all the state cases can go forward, the federal cases can go forward, and he cannot try to use that defense again. Not that he won't try something else, but the whole immunity thing will be off of the table because the Supreme Court will have ruled on it. It won't be now the fact that just the local municipalities have ruled on it. It will be the law of the land, basically, because the Supreme Court said so. So it doesn't come back to the Supreme Court. It's the final decision. So they're probably more or less waiting on that. They figure it's a cleaner indictment not to have Trump on it. The same reason that the DC case has a bunch of other co-conspirators other than Donald Trump. They built that case for speed originally by just having Trump on it. They can get through the docket faster. When you're an unindicted co-conspirator, it doesn't mean that you will get indicted, but you probably could. What it also can do is if they haven't indicted Trump yet, they can then start putting pressure on the ones that have been indicted to see if they can get any of them to plea out and things like that. Because you got to remember, a lot of these other people do not have the means to fight like Donald Trump does.
Especially Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, he's done. Rudy is relegated to recording cameo videos, and he can't make enough money off a cameo video to sustain all of the hits that he's taken. He owes everybody so much. He would have to live a couple more lifetimes to be able to pay it off. $148 million to Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman. He has IRS tax bills. He owes lawyers almost $1 million. He's got a lot of things out there that he has to pay off. A lot of creditors that are not going to get paid, or they may get some kind of settlement where they're getting pennies on the dollar for what he owes them.
But he'll last another lifetime. He will,
Yeah, but
unfortunately. Yeah,
yeah,
he will.
but his problem is his earning power, his earning potential, just isn't going to be what it once used to be when he was quote unquote America's mayor and he was a highly sought after individual outside of the state of New York. You know, it's kind of funny how him and Donald Trump have that in common, where everybody in the other 49 states hold them in a higher regard than the one that they're from.
Well, that yes, yes. And I also think about when you're talking about earning power, the every once in a while, because I do love to watch documentaries and everything. So every once in a while, or I will see a documentary that has Rudy Giuliani, especially when he was part of the Southern District of New York,
Yep.
and when he was prosecuting the mob, and there were many mob cases and all of that.
Hmm.
And he pops up, and every time I watch these shows, I'm like, does he get a residual for the running of that show, and or like something or something like that to help contribute to his current debts?
Nope,
Hmm.
not at all. The reason is that he didn't perform. They're just playing video.
No, no, but he didn't perform, but I'm saying when he was part of this documentary or whatever this what
Now,
they
if
were talking about, like he was asked questions and this way and he was adding to the story and all of that. That's where I was like, I'm thinking he gets something.
possibly, but it would all come down to what was put in the agreement when he sat down. And
Mm.
what I mean by that is they can do it one or two ways. Um, they can do what they call a buyout. Me being an actor, if I performed in a commercial, most commercials would say a buyout after 2 years. So the commercials could run for 2 years in perpetuity, and either I get residuals because I agreed to residuals, which aren't really a lot. Trust me, it would have to play a lot for me to get really big residual checks. They're not that much. Or they can say, you know what, we're just going to give you a lump sum buyout because we know that we're going to run this for 2 years. It's going to be a 2-year ad campaign, so we're just going to pay you $1,000. Now, if we decide to run it any longer than that, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get anything. So it just depends on what the agreement is. Did you do a full buyout? Is it residuals, perpetuity? What's going on with that agreement? So it kind of depends. Or did we just pay you an appearance fee? Hey, we're going to need a little bit of your time to talk about your dealings with the mob, the fact that you were one of the first to really bring RICO into a thing, make RICO a thing, which is the irony now that he's part of a RICO case.
Absolutely.
But if they just paid him an appearance fee, and that may have waived all of those other things that you're asking about. So it depends. It just depends on what he signed.
Well, that's good to know, and thank you for that, because as I said, it's always very interesting because it just comes up, and actually it was just very recently. I think he was on American Greed. It was just very interesting that it's just like, and when they were sitting here, we're talking about the glory days and when he brought the first RICO charges and all of that, and it's just very interesting the turn of events that have has proceeded in his life at this point. So
Well, you know the crazy thing about him, and I think we saw this decline in Giuliani rather quickly, especially once Trump became president and he was just hitching himself to Trump. Even before he went through the cases trying to prove election fraud and hair dye melting off the side of his face and standing in front of a landscaping place next to a crematory and all of that stuff, and you know farting in the in the courtrooms in these cases besides Jenna Ellis and all these crazy things he was going through. I think a lot of us started to see him declining because a lot of times we kept going, what happened? What's wrong with him? You know, why is he acting like this now? I mean, he was already on the shady side, and you know, I just thought he was a full blown racist myself. A
You
lot of
thought he is.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm just saying. I always thought that that's what he was, even when he was the mayor, even when he was working with the SDNY and all of that stuff. It just seemed, you know, he would say a lot of coded, underhanded crap, and I always took it as, oh, he just one of them racists that think he just say racist shit. Nobody gonna really say he being a
Mhm.
racist. So I've never held him in high regard. So when 9/11 happened, he did what most politicians do. They grift off of grief. Even though it was something bad that happened to the country, he used it to raise his own status. You know, when you think about somebody's claim to fame is the fact that some thousands of people died as a result of airplanes crashing into a building, that's a hell of a thing to be known for. I mean, it just is. That's nuts. Like your claim to fame is the fact that people died under your watch. What? But anyway, he did. He rode that. When people would want him to represent them, they would come to his law firm, and he would get premium dollar because he was America's mayor. Man, we got America's mayor representing us. It's like having rest his soul, Johnny Cochran representing you because his claim to fame was OJ. Man, I got OJ's lawyer defending me. You know, that I guess that was the prestige. Um, but I never really saw him in that high regard. So it was just kind of funny once the rest of America started really seeing this fool and what he was about. It was pretty funny to be like, man, where the hell have y'all been? You know, kind of the same thing with Trump, where a lot of y'all New Yorkers already knew who this bastard was. So when people talk about, man, he's a self-made millionaire, you know, New Yorkers would just laugh and, oh, he's a successful businessman. And y'all sitting there like, Trump? Man, get out of here. You know, y'all be sitting there laughing at everybody else because it was the branding. And, you know, you can say everything you want about Trump and or Giuliani, but people like that brand themselves in a way that as long as it's not the person that they do business with right down the street, but the further you get away from home, the better you look. Because the people around you know who you are, and you can't swindle them like you've been swindling everybody else. It ain't always easy to go back home. That's why Trump moved. That's why Rudy Giuliani moved to Florida, because it ain't easy to go back home because they know you. They know you for who you are, and they know you full of crap. So you might be able to grift your little golden shoes and sticky ass Bibles off of other people, but ain't nobody in New York sitting there going, "Oh, I think I need to order this $60 Bible or these $400 shoes." And then now his wife trying to sell some damn charm bracelets or necklaces or something for $200, $300, something like that. So they're all grifters. And they basically brand themselves in a way to make people feel like if you buy this and I'm endorsing it, you're getting a piece of me. And they sell it like that. And there's people out there that's going, oh God, I gotta have a piece of Trump. But not New Yorkers. No, 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 no. New Yorkers are like, we done seen this for 50 years. We good. Florida, you can have him. So when he announced or made a big deal about, hey, threatening to go to Florida, I remember when he was sitting there threatening to go to Florida, and everybody was like, take your ass on, say less, bye. And he finally left and stuff like that. And it was almost like, you know, when somebody about to walk out the door, they want somebody to say, wait, 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 don't go. And he was trying to do that, trying to psych out New York, and New York was like, you still here? They were not convinced. You were not going to get the New Yorkers to go, oh, no, come on, Donnie. We playing. We want you. We want you. Man, they couldn't wait to see him go. But when he presents himself to the rest of the country, there's a huge contingent of people out there that continue to donate to him to this day, will sit there and send money that they do not have to him. Even knowing that what they're sending to his campaign is going to his lawyers. Absolutely. The money that they're spending on NFT trading cards of Trump dressed like either a damn wrestler or Superman, whatever he's going for. Um, so or here's the thing about being tone deaf. How the hell you gonna have an NFT card of you in some fatigues acting like you some kind of soldier or ranger when your ass sat there and skipped the draft about 2, 3 times talking about you had bone spurs? What? How tone deaf are you? You the one that sat there and had daddy paid to keep your ass out of the military, and then you gonna have some NFT cards trying to make you look like you tough ass Rambo or Sergeant Slaughter mug. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Your ass is scared. You ain't even want to go. So and then you'll come up with some bone spurs argument and stuff like that to keep you out. So it's just kind of hilarious, but a lot of that is branding, a lot of that is grifting, and it's sad to be able to see a lot of these people that I work with, man, people that outside of their politics, I think are actually pretty decent people, but then you see them post some crazy shit on Facebook, and you go, "Oh God, damn! Oh, they straight Trump." And I've had some friends like that, Lori. I don't know if you've had that where where you didn't know until they started posting some stuff, and you go, "Ooh." I have a lot of coworkers like that. Um, I'll see them post something, and I'll go, "Wow, like I didn't know you were like that." So it's kind of crazy to see that. Um, okay, yeah, I got you. Thank you, producer, for letting me know. I'm
But
watching it. It'll pop up. It'll pop up. Matter of fact, what'll happen is, Lori, when that comes, we'll cut to um some other commercials. I don't know which other ones we have that we haven't ran yet, but we could probably try to fit that in while I'm updating Instagram. If you want to try that, maybe we can
oh,
sit there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lori.
well, I know that you were talking about promoting your business and everything else, and I know for myself that I have started on another little small business of myself. So I always want to sit there and get time to talk about that as well. But we can save it for another show and everything else.
Okay, okay, fair enough. So what we will do at the top of the hour is rerun the Jermaine Parker Realty will rerun, and then just go from there to uh Sawyer Kid Lawyer and Moments the Weekend. And by that time I'll be back, hopefully with Instagram back up. Guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, we are able to stream on Instagram, but apparently only at 1 hour at a time. So closer to the top of the hour in the next 3 minutes, Instagram is going to go dark, and I'm going to have to go in and put in another stream code for Instagram to be able to come back up. Doesn't take that long, but I still got to be able to go in and fix it and then come back in and continue to stream. We normally what we've been doing is just letting it run out in the hour and then not bringing it back. But we're going to try it this time to see how seamless it is. So we're going to do this live and we're going to see if it works. If it doesn't, then we'll figure something else out. But it shouldn't take away from the show because we'll just kind of add it in, time it, and be able to see how it goes. So, Lori, we'll both kind of get that notification uh, from StreamYard that Instagram has fallen off, and then we'll go from there with it. All right.
Okay. I
And
just
then, I'm sorry. And then on the other side, we'll talk a little bit more about uh, the New York trial that Trump is currently in. And then I wanted to also talk about what's going around some of these college campuses, and also the Arizona uh, abortion bill that was brought back from the 1800s before Arizona was a state. And news today that the House in Arizona finally passed a law to repeal said law. Finally, after trying multiple times, they finally got three brave Republicans to cross over and support them, even though a couple of days ago, all the Republicans killed the bill again, and they sat on the House floor in Arizona to applaud the fact that women do not have access to reproductive rights. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about that on the other side of that as well. Now that I think about it, Lori, because we started the show at 8:05, I mean 7:05, Instagram more than likely is not. Oh, it's already disconnected. Just got a message. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you go ahead and start those commercials, and then I'll see you in just a second. How's that?
Got it.
Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions that you'll make. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help you navigate through that process. We know that a home is more than just a place to live. It creates memories. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help. Give us a call and let us get started on your journey. Introducing Sawyer, Kid Lawyer, Teacher versus Nap Time, a great book that will help your little one with reading, writing, and spelling. Coming from the authors, Shanine and Sheldon Muldrow. Please check this book out and support. Thank you so much.
Well, as Brian is working on the technical side and bringing that back up. There you go.
Yeah, I got it. We're just fine. There was one extra step that I forgot about, so I did get it. Oops, let me bring my mic back in. So yeah, we're back on Instagram. So what I did work, I just had to remove the old stream code and put in a brand new one. So it doesn't take that long, but I was rushing myself, so I was going a little bit slower than I have to. I can do it within that time now. I can probably do it in about a minute and a half. So okay. Anyway, just had to be ready. That's all. So anyway, Lori, Donald Trump is in his first week of trial. This dude tried 11 times to get this case dismissed in the last 2 weeks. Tried to throw everything. They kept shooting it down, shooting it down, shooting it down. Sometimes they would hear the argument and within 45 minutes rule denied, denied. He tried every damn thing. He's talked about the judge being conflicted every time they have a break. He comes out and dude is the king for somebody that has all the best words. He likes to say the same ones over and over. He keeps talking about the judge is conflicted. He should recuse himself. Now, if this judge is conflicted and should recuse himself, then who the hell is Clarence Thomas? Because if you're saying his daughter has a job and that job has helped raise money for Democrats and he can't be fair because of the job that his daughter has, then who the hell is Clarence Thomas? When he's sleeping with somebody that was trying to get politicians in Washington to overturn the election for you, who is Clarence Thomas then? So I tell you what, you want Judge Michon gone? Let's see Clarence Thomas recuse his ass first. Then we'll talk. Until then, F out of here. So anyway, that was just my 2 cents on that. Like, the hypocrisy is never lost on these Republicans. These are the same ones that'll sit there and lawyer and talk about election interference and um, election integrity and things like that, election fraud and stuff like that. But then when actual fraud is found, ain't it funny how 99% of the time they damn Republicans?
Absolutely. And then they start giving thoughts and prayers if there's an incident with gun violence or something, which is hollow and just frustrating.
So I'm gonna get back to Trump in a second, but on that same line, isn't it? Hmm, oh, that's LinkedIn now. Okay. Um, isn't it funny how Republicans will sit there and travel to New York, stand in front of Columbia University, and talk about the damn National Guard need to come in and remove the encampment off of Columbia University for what is mostly peaceful protest? Do they have some bad actors saying some anti-Semitic things? It is quite possible that is happening. But these same said legislators think the National Guard need to come to Columbia University and remove people. Oh, looks like it rebooted. Needs to remove people from Columbia, but had no problem with people busting down the Capitol on January the 6th. Come on now. So
Make it make sense. Make it make
even to the fact of calling it a tourist event. Why can't they be here? Now, one is mostly peaceful protesting. The other ones are slapping shit on the walls, breaking into the speaker's office, marching through the place with the damn Confederate flag, setting up gallows outside to start hanging politicians. Yet you have students at Columbia that are protesting genocide. And they want the National Guard to come in and remove these folks that are exercising their First Amendment rights and organizing and protesting peacefully. But the National Guard should remove them. But January 6th was okay.
I have a question for you.
All right.
Isn't there a case or some type of case law where they're looking at where it may be a crime to actually protest, whether peaceful or not, or something? I thought I remembered hearing something about that, or
Well, I
am
know.
I wrong?
Well, you're not wrong. There's a lot of different towns and cities that are trying to come up with things. You know, when George Floyd happened, I guess George Floyd is the unofficial godfather of the rights woke agenda. When people started realizing that the bullshit that they've been told for years, that all police are above reproach, if you just simply comply with what the police tell you, then everything is going to work out. And when Americans from all walks of life, and not just Americans, the world from all walks of life saw somebody's humanity basically being choked out of them, it put us in a whole different light. It only reinforced what many of us that looked like George Floyd already knew, but it really did trigger a generation of non-black people and brought them to action to see something. Hey, Alan, to see something that they just couldn't have imagined. They've heard people complain about it. They've heard it being said. And, for a lot of people, they didn't believe it because they didn't want to believe it. Oh, y'all just playing the race card. Man, why is it always about race? Can't we move on from race? Yada, 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 yada. Well, I'm sorry. I've tried. Every time I get up in the morning, I sit there and throw some water on my face. I look back up and I'm still black. God, I can't move on from being black. That's my problem. Um, but the day George Floyd was killed, it became more than just my problem. A lot more people finally figured out, wait a minute, if we're seeing this on tape, how many George Floyds do we not see on tape? And you know what that's really called, Lori? You woke up. That's what being woke is. It's a realization that just because there are things that you've been privy to, everybody ain't in that same boat. The things that you have been allowed to have happen from your point of view isn't the point of view that everybody shares, and it's just an acknowledgement of it, and it's an awareness of the fact that, hey, maybe we have come a certain ways, but we have a long way to go, and the only way to get there is to acknowledge the need to get there. But there's other people that would say, no, we need to be anti woke because we just need to keep things the way they are. That's why Make America Great Again resonates with so many people, because one thing is forward looking and another thing is backwards looking. I don't want to go forward. I don't want to have to accept the fact that you have pronouns. I grew up where there was a man and a woman, and that's it. I don't want to have to accept that there are other um, genders out there, because to me, gender and sex were always the same thing. A male is a male, a female is a female. Not a male is a sex, a female is a sex, and genders can be defined by other things. I don't want to live in a world like that. I want to go back to where things were better. Like when women didn't vote, black folks was 3/5 of a person. Things were a lot simpler. Um, we didn't have to worry about having to be accepted. I didn't have to worry about walking down the streets of New York and see two men holding hands, um, or two women trying to adopt a child. People just wanting to live their lives. I didn't have to accept that. I didn't have to see that. I could just sit there and make sure that my kids were just as narrow-minded. And the problem, Lori, is that a lot of these kids are going to these schools like Columbia, like Stanford, like Yale, like Brown, um, like Princeton, and they're being exposed to things that their parents don't agree with. That's why they have such a resentment for higher education, because the problem is that higher education means that you're around more people that do not look like you. This ain't the community college down the street in your local town, or the technical college. Now you're being exposed to other things, and you're starting to realize that that gay classmate, or that bisexual classmate, or that gender neutral classmate that you have in science class is not a bad person. They're not the boogeyman that your parents tried to create. They're actually all right. There's nothing to be afraid of. They're not trying to um, get me to be like them. They're not trying to. I've been watching Star Trek, so I think about the Borg. They're not trying to assimilate me, or as the right wingers call it, grooming. They're just trying to live their life, be who they are, and it doesn't take away from the fantastic person that they are inside and outside. Do I necessarily aspire to the things that they like to do when it comes to their sexuality? No, but they didn't ask for my opinion, and it shouldn't matter. How many things do we do that we don't care if other people approve of it or not, and we just live our lives and do them. All they're asking for is, just give me the same runway. I'm not asking to be better than you. I'm just asking you to not look at me as if I'm not good enough. And for a lot of people, that's scary because that's a level of acceptance that they do not have inside of them. And I pray for people like that because that is a very, very shallow, lonely place to be when you cannot simply show humanity to somebody because of your preconceived notions, or let's just be honest, your bigotry. You just won't define it that way, but that's all it really is just your bigotry. You creating a boogeyman that doesn't exist. It's the same reason why people talk about immigrants. Oh, they're dirty, they're this, they're that. No, let me tell you something about immigrants. Immigrants will do the shit that you will not do. The things that you would complain about, the things you would not go to work to do. You are not going to sit there and work 16 hours at a chicken processing plant. You're not going to work 12 hours on a farm. You're not going to sit there and fill potholes on a bridge in Baltimore overnight. Now, some of you will, but for a lot of people, they thumb their nose at that kind of work. You know, whatever happened to hard earnest work, you know, for pay and that kind of things. Immigrants embody that more than Americans do. In some ways, living the American dream seems more important to the immigrant than it does to the American that takes it for granted. When immigrants come over here, they're trying to invite, yes, are they sending money back home? Yes. So not only are they trying to support their families in this country, Lori, but they're still looking back and remembering where the hell they come from and giving to families that couldn't get over here. How much more humanity is that? It just upsets me. Alan, and clean hotel rooms. Amen. We'll do the things. Yeah. How many Americans you know gonna sit there and want to go behind other people that done messed up hotel rooms and will sit there? And I've been in the hotel business for 33 years. To be able to see people not only come in, go in a room and try to make it look like what they saw never happened, but then do it again and again and again, up to 19 to 20 rooms a day, if not more, over and over and over. A community that I've seen will sit there when, you know, somebody's sick, band together and say, okay, she had 20 rooms today, she couldn't make it, let's all try to work together and get them done for her. That's community. Those are things that should be heralded, not demonized. We demonize the things we fear, but we forget to look at the humanity inside of these people. You know, like I said on my burning issue, those guys that died on that bridge are more American than a whole lot of other people that profess to be Americans every day. That have sat there and bought into the idea that if I work hard enough, I can start to get things and make my family better off. Every parent that I have ever known of, their goal has always been to make their child's life just a little bit better than the one they had. And if you could do just that much, when you go see your maker, wherever you think your final destination is when you pass, that you'll get a little bit of credit for a job well done, because that's your legacy that you're leaving behind. But yet we sit there and we demonize, make America great again. And the question is always, for who? Because if you're looking back in the past, America was only great if you looked a certain way, if you were a certain color, if you were even a certain sex. Make America great again. That's why when I see these Candace Owensons and these Mark Robinsons and these Lord, I can't think of all these crazy coons out there, Herschel Walkers and stuff like, They don't know their damn history. When they say make America great again, that should be the most offensive thing that you hear, because you should know where you came from. You want to go back to pre-civil rights? You want to go back to pre-affirmative action? Because to them, that's when America was great, and you stand up at a damn Blacks for Trump rally and clap your hands when he's sitting there basically gaslighting you? Have you lost your damn minds? Now listen, I'm not talking about Republicans, Democrats, Independents, because I'll be honest with you, all of them full of shit. All of them. But there's levels to things. I'm not going to both sides this. There are levels to things. Do I believe that everybody that is a Democrat, like there are no racist Democrats? Of course not. But what I will tell you is it's not their platform. When I vote for the Democratic Party, going back and making America great again when I ain't had no rights, when I did not have the ability, if we go back and make America great again, my black ass wouldn't be in front of you right now. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to experience that. Why would I want to experience that when the people that came before me shed blood, sweat, and tears so that I wouldn't have to? Why would I want to celebrate going back to something and make what they fought for be in vain? Why would I sit there and basically take Martin Luther King's dream and basically shit on it? What is wrong with people? Why would you sit there and take all of the things that we've come from, Jim Crow, redlining, segregation, not being able to walk through the front door? You want to go back to that and make everything that all of these civil rights leaders that came before us basically say, yeah, I know y'all did all that, but F you, we want to go back to before y'all started doing all that because we like it so much, because that's when America was great. What are you talking about? Know your history. No, if you don't know your history and where you came from, you will go back to it because they won't take it from you. You will give it to them. They won't have to sit there and wrestle it away from you. Your little bojangling ass is just going to hand it to them on a silver platter. Because they done convinced you, oh, God, I guess it was great again because he certainly said so. And because he was on The Apprentice so long, why would he lie to me? You need to take your little coon ass away somewhere. America was not great for everybody in the past. The goal is to continue to work on an imperfect culture, a democracy, and make it better. When you finally breathe your last breath, what did you contribute to making this unperfect experiment just a little bit more perfect? What did you do? Did you sit there and spend all your time demagoguing and living in fear and boogeymanning everybody? Or did you try to take at least a few steps forward? You know, those of y'all that read your Bibles, act like y'all Christians. I remember in the Bible where it talks about Moses telling everybody, we're going to wander for 40 years. And I'm not going to end up getting there with you. But we still walking together. We still headed towards the goal. But I know I ain't going to make it. But I'm still going to go in that direction. I'm not going to say, let's make Hebrews great again or Gentiles great again. We need to move forward, even if it's taking just a few steps in that direction. It's those first steps that are the biggest ones. But when you live in the past, when you cling to a past that did not have an acceptance for everyone, that is not a past you should want to run to. You should always want to run to the past where inclusivity is not a dirty word. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is not a dirty word. What it means to a lot of people that think it is it means, oh, you're going to make me accept something I don't want to accept. Yes, it's called evolution. And if evolution didn't exist, the things that you hold dear to today would not have been around because people would have fought evolution, inclusivity. I don't even understand women that sit there and yell about making America great again. Heifer, they thought back then the only two places a woman should be is in the kitchen and the bedroom. That's why they have a problem with abortion now, because you are not in control of your bodies. You are a baby maker. Get to pumping out them damn kids. You are seen as a damn incubator. You are nothing more than the hen that sits on the damn egg. That's what they want to take you back to. That is your worth to all these other people that sit there and want to tell you what to do with your bodies. You are nothing more to them than a vessel to keep pumping out more people to work for a minimum wage so that their 401ks, their stocks, their way of life can continue to grow and be uninterrupted. Got me on one today, Lori. You got me on
Kind
one.
of did.
You did.
And I didn't even have to put up what I don't like, because you just kind of went there with what I don't like, and then you went into what burns me.
I really did. And I'll cut that and make. But it just we're all from somewhere else in our lineage, and there's just so many people there that don't know their history, or they think they're entitled for their history to have taken the track that is taken, but other people that want to be able to see those same benefits and things like that. Oh, no, 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 no. Not for you. Not for you people. That's not how your story goes. You were meant to struggle. You were meant to have to sit there and get my sloppy seconds, or better yet, my scraps off the floor. You're not worthy enough to sit at the table with me. You need to be like my dog. And when something falls off the table, then you have my permission to get it. There's people there that think like that. They may not um, communicate it quite that way, but sometimes your actions say more than any of the lies and the filth and the bullshit that comes out of your mouth. Sometimes, and is what they say, don't watch what they say, watch what they do, because your actions will betray you every time. Well, Lori, if you want to put a point in before we go, feel free, because I could go over social justice all night long, because it does
Well,
burn.
okay. I think what burns me is Carrie Lake.
Why?
Carrie Lake burns me when she went on the platform, and when she would sit there to talk about, as you were talking about, abortion and women's rights and everything else, and how she sat there and has tried to run on the coattails again on Donald Trump and this for that. But then for her to have the audacity to come back and say, oh no, as a woman, you do have a right to choose, is downright, and it's insulting.
It's gas.
And
It's gaslighting. Yeah.
but these are the people, and just Carrie Lake as one example, that just want to be able to seek power. That's what I don't like, and it's really annoying as hell.
Yeah.
And I guess on my last on the last few seconds that we have, and then going on there, we are coming up with an election, and again, I'm not saying that as if Democrats are like the end all to be all, but they are a lot better on some things than what we would be having if we had Trump and the rest of these other crazies, or even Mark Robinson, who, again, I don't understand. But I digress. But again, please, please, with everything that is going on, know your worth, know your vote, and your vote matters. Please, please vote and make your voice heard.
You know, Lori, and I've said this before, and I will say it again. If your vote did not matter, people wouldn't be trying so hard to take it away from you. Why are they
Absolutely.
trying to take away your vote so much if it doesn't really matter? It does matter. Don't let people sit there and try to convince you otherwise. Don't sit there and think that the perfect has to be the enemy of the good. I finally got that expression right. I always try to say it and I always F it up. And in real time, I said it correctly. Do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. What does that mean? Stop waiting for everything to be exactly the way you want it before you'll support it. Again, sometimes in life in general, if all you've done in your life is just walk step, 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 and have never taken 3 steps forward and 6 steps back, 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, then you are a blessed person. And I would almost argue that you're not really human. Because I know most people have definitely had obstacles, course corrections, and things in their life where it wasn't just a matter of them walking single file all through their life, never having to deviate, never having to sit there and course correct or anything like that. We all have at some point had to take a few steps forward, take a few steps back so that we could take even more steps forward. That's called life. But if you let the perfect outweigh the good, you will not only not take steps forward and back, you won't move at all because you'll just wait for the perfect situation that will never, ever come. And we have to look at our rights in voting as more than the perfect. We need to look at the good. We need to make sure that, hey, do I agree with Joe Biden's handling of Israel and sending $26 billion over to Israel, who can self fund their own damn wars? You know, they could do their whole genocide without a dollar coming from us. And then for us to say, hey, listen, we're going to send you weapons, we're going to send you money. The only thing that we ask is, number one, you don't use those weapons to sit there and wipe out Palestinians. Hey, we're going to send food aid over there. All we ask you to do is let the trucks come in and stop the famine. Is that a lot to ask? And then Netanyahu goes, yeah, bitch, whatever. Keep sending me the money. It better be here soon. And then we go, yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. We'll talk about it on the next show, because what that really comes from is donors, lobbyists. I hate to say it, APAC, getting in the pockets and getting in bed with a lot of our politicians and basically saying to them, hey, our agenda is now your agenda. My agenda is your agenda. Now, anybody want to call me anti-Semitic? I got 2 words for you. Fuck you. Secondly, because anything that is against Israel is not anti-Semitic. But there's too many people out there that think that if you criticize Israel at all, you're an anti-Semite. You know, whatever. I'm going to sleep comfortable tonight knowing that that's not true. Because if I say anything that's against the United States does not make me anti-American. So just because I say something against Israel does not make me anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism is the realization that people want to sit there and see Israel not exist, see the Jewish state not exist. That's anti-Semitic. Criticizing their policies and things like that does not make you anti-Semitic. It makes you have an effing brain. That's all it means. But Lori, again, with that said, I could go down that rabbit hole. I'm not going to do it because we've run out of time for this show. But guys, send me your comments. I don't expect everybody to agree with me wholeheartedly. Our experiences in life a lot of times uh, gives us different perspective on things, and it's not always that we see things exactly the same, and that's okay. We're here for good, honest debate and conversation so that at least we can agree to disagree if we cannot agree on certain things, but we do it in a civil way. The only thing that I won't allow is conspiracy theories and just all that other crazy stuff. We need to sit there and figure out how to make this one rock that we all live on a better place. And we have children that are watching us, and we need to be a better example for them as well. But with that said, that's the show for today. I'm Brian Parker, and along with Lori here, we'd like to thank y'all again for joining us. Tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. for live talk. And also check us out on YouTube again. Help us with our push of 10,000. Thanks, Alan. Our push for 10,000 on YouTube. Go to Empower TV Network on Empower. Motivated, what's going on? That is Mo. Get some hits on Instagram. I'm glad I did fire it up for the second half. But join us on YouTube, Empower TV Network. Please go there, like, share, subscribe. This show will appear there. Other content will appear there. Click on the bell. It'll always let you know when we've gone live or we've added some content to the page. Once you like the page and subscribe to it, please share it. Share the streams when we're live and things like that. And check us out on Roku, Amazon Fire TV for all of our content there as well. I'm excited. I'm literally turning in my man card because I've missed the first 37 minutes of the NFL draft that started tonight. So anyway, I'm gonna catch up on that as well. Check on my sports books because bro be killing FanDuel over here. I'm just saying. She's giving me the wrap it up side because I'm bragging about FanDuel. All right, y'all. We are out of here. We'll see y'all again next week. Y'all take care. Peace.
This a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a